Fighting to save their school from closure, supporters say the numbers from Denver public schools are wrong. 4 years ago, Sun Valley, right near Mile High Stadium, looked like this before all the affordable housing was torn down, and people in Sun Valley say that's why the numbers have declined. 9 News reporter Angeline McCall spoke with people in the neighborhood who say kids will be returning in just a few weeks.
In a neighborhood that's turned into a construction site, Fairview Elementary has been the one place that has remained.
Honestly, I think the closing of Fairview would be devastating for some of the people here in this community.
Families are waiting for the first affordable housing units to become available to return to their community and their school.
Fairview has stood as a place that's stable to come back to.
Denver Public Schools says Fairview Elementary, though, is on the chopping block over declining enrollment.
Enrollment is declining because our houses were torn down. And they're coming back, but it's taking forever.
Denver Housing Authority says hundreds of kids will return sooner than later.
Right now is this critical moment where we have 264 units of housing that people are starting to move into next week.
I think the whole redevelopment has always been based around the fact that the school was there.
Chris Rollerson is the executive director of the Sun Valley Youth Center.
Small schools were created to be neighborhood schools and to be small on purpose to meet needs that were specific to communities. And I feel like we're being punished for that now. And that's really sad for our family and for our communities.
She disagrees with DPS's numbers that say enrollment will go down next year.
The truth of the matter is, even if it's their projections versus ours, it's not significant enough in terms of it making a difference.
Superintendent Dr. Alex Marrero says more kids could put a strain on resources.
We did hear from a lot of our community members, which is always important, but I think what we may be neglecting is the day-to-day grind that our educators are dealing with.
People in the neighborhood worry moving schools would just be another trauma in an area that's already dealt with so much change.
I feel like a lot of things happen to us in this community.
Lawmakers, the next community meeting is Monday. That time was pushed back so that parents have a chance to actually attend. Also keep in mind, too, that this community has a very large number of refugee families as well as immigrant families with translators needed for Arabic, Somali, French, and Spanish. And there are concerns about language barriers as well as other issues like transportation that many families would face in a change like this.
I'm curious if these numbers, it could be potentially hundreds of students. Is that going to be enough? And will it happen quickly enough to make any change with where DPS is at?
Yeah, DHA is saying that between 240 and 400 kids could be returning to the neighborhood sometime in the future. Capacity at the school is about 400, a little bit over that. And so with that being said, right now, the numbers from DPS are, much lower, actually saying that enrollment will decline. And so there's a lot of confusion as to whose numbers are correct and what really will happen in the future.
Yeah, this affects so many families, so I'm glad you're on top of it. Thank you.